Well, I'm just thinking that, many of the CDOs listening on today's call will say, gosh, that model really resonates with me because it's all connected, right? To ensure that we're leveraging data, that we've got business led decisions or data driven decisions being made, and that we're able to connect it to, our people, our processes, and of course the infrastructure technology. But starting in, many companies feel like, gosh, I just feel so far away from where I want to be. And I'm starting, perhaps at zero. I've even had some CDOs say, I feel like I'm in the negative category. So I'm just curious how you were able to address some of those gaps and how you were able to narrow in on those.
Yeah, and I think the key is that understanding where the business is trying to go and connecting directly into that, so that our effort to value is really clear, and not trying to win the whole game all at once. So, it's a journey. It is a journey, but you can choose. And there's a couple of things that I've done. One is from a delivery of value point of view, I set up a steel thread which is an end-to-end way of looking at delivering value, and said, right, instead of all these silos of activities across the business, let's choose one thing that we all agree, in which our executive and board agreed and said, this is really important for us, this one thing. Now, from that one thing, let's get the bare minimum to deliver value to customer for that one thing. And that meant bringing together business subject matter experts. It meant bringing together design, data science, engineering, DevSecOps, working together on that one thing. And gosh, what I found was some people actually didn't even know each other. So in that chain of delivery, there were segments who hadn't been involved in the conversation until they were needed. And often they have a lot to offer. So you get them, and you can design it properly from the beginning, and it can avoid blockages later. So getting everyone in the same room, having that conversation up front, focusing on one thin thread, and then delivering that, actually shows the way and demonstrates through doing how people can come together. Then you can start to scale it out. The other thing that I did, which I think to me is really important, and there may be differing views on this, but it seems to be working for me so far, is instead of having a centre of excellence as a hub and spoke, I've concentrated on a hybrid of that, where I have my mission is to actually lift capability for the entire organisation. So instead of having people come to me and us answering the problem, we have our analysts actually sitting, and engineers and people who know what they're talking about in terms of data, actually sitting alongside and inside our tribes. We run an agile methodology at Westpac New Zealand. And then we have the hybrid part is the scarce resources that are there for the really gnarly problems and the automation and the ways of really taking us into a step change, and the governance and data quality support, sitting centrally but in a flow to work manner. So there we identify, say, a complex problem that an analyst is working on. Our flow to work experts come in alongside that analyst. So we're not only helping to boost, but we're actually lifting capability at the same time. So I've taken that approach to how we manage governance, how we manage quality, and how we manage delivery of really big, key, valuable pieces. The other thing that does for us, it allows us to identify repeatable patterns. So often what you see is really great work happening in small sort of pieces, but a lot of duplication of effort, a lot of unrealization of those repeat patterns. And once you identify those, you can go faster for other pieces of value. So that's another piece which is quite important when you're thinking about how do you become the advisor and enabler rather than the place where all the problems get sent.
You've really described an incredible framework, thinking big. I mean, you've described it incredible vision, right, and strategy, thinking big, starting small. I've loved how you talked about make it small, make it manageable, get people involved, get them to see the aha moments, starting to also build some of that muscle memory into teams that aren't used to perhaps working with each other, like introducing each other to these elements of data. I love that, by the way. I mean, you just see this amazing potential even from these initial working groups. and then being able to scale off of that, having your own playbook for growing and building and lifting the organization's capacity. So I think that is something so powerful. I found that is a best practice, because the big bang implementation isn't going to work. There's no such thing as that. You've got to really build in a strategy that brings the organization along in terms of that maturity and pacing yourself. So it's fantastic.